Is Hawaii a safe place? I mean, is it just me, or are there more incidents of theft being reported in the local news these days? So in case you haven't heard, Hawaii may be having a little bit of a theft problem lately. So I thought I'd make a video with 5 tips on how to protect yourself against theft in Hawaii, especially if you're a tourist, because yes, we have that here too. And what's really heartbreaking to me are the stories that involve tourists being robbed, because I just imagine how it must feel for them. It's so amazing to be here in Hawaii. I'm just so glad I'm here. Wait a minute, that's my bag. Someone took my bag. Help! Or, oh man, that was so much fun, so relaxing. Such an amazing time. Is that our car? Did you lock the car? Did you lock the car? Oh my gosh, glass everywhere. Check the trunk. So just a disclaimer, this video is not meant to make Hawaii seem like a dangerous or a bad place, because nationally, if you look at the statistics, Hawaii is pretty low in dangerous or violent crimes, but that doesn't mean that Hawaii doesn't experience things like theft. Number 1, don't leave your stuff unattended. This seems pretty obvious for locals or even tourists coming from the mainland, but I know that there are some tourists from Japan that could definitely use the reminder. See, in Japan, they are very trusting and they basically don't take things that don't belong to them. People just leave their things on chairs and tables because there's the expectation that no one's gonna take your stuff. In Hawaii, people aren't like that, or at least some people in Hawaii aren't like that. Because Hawaii is a tourist destination, there's an expectation that visitors are carrying a lot of cash or a lot of expensive things like cameras or nice purses. So just don't leave your stuff unattended. I recently went shopping at Waikele, which is an outlet mall in central Oahu, and I was so shocked by what I saw. We approached a sunglasses store, very nice store, and in the front of the store, outside of the store, were 2 parked strollers with all of the stuff inside of them. Bags and water bottles and food, and it was basically 2 tourist families who had left their strollers and went inside the store. And I was just thinking, that is pretty brave of you. I'm glad their things weren't stolen, but I really wanted to tell them, don't leave your stuff outside unattended. You either bring the strollers in the store or you have someone wait outside, because you just shouldn't be taking that kind of risk. You may be able to do that in Japan, but in Hawaii, no. Okay, beach rant. Can someone please tell me how you can enjoy yourself at the beach if you have to watch your wallet, your phone, your keys? Because I can't figure it out. In fact, I grew up here most of my life and I still can't figure it out. If I want to go in the water, where do I store these things? You have to bury it in the sand. But what if I don't want to bury my stuff in the sand and have to look at the beach every 30 seconds to make sure that no one's walking by my secret spot? I just want to enjoy myself at the beach and not have to worry about my stuff being taken. The only way I can think of is to bring someone along to the beach whose sole job is to just watch the stuff. And nope, they can't enjoy anything else. They can't go in the water when we go in the water. They just have to sit there and watch the stuff. So make sure to watch your stuff, because if you're not, pretty sure somebody else is. Number 2 is lock your car and keep it clean. Please lock your car. Chances are, as a tourist, wherever you go, you're gonna be parking. All right, we're finally here. Is that a parking spot right there? Oh no, there's a moped right there. Is that a parking spot? Oh, small car. Oh my gosh, there's no parking. You see any parking here? So make sure to lock your car unless you are so certain that your car will get broken into that you leave your doors unlocked, so that if anyone were to break into your car, they wouldn't have to bust open a window and you'd have to pay for it. They would just open the car and see that there's nothing for them to take. Whew, that is some next level thinking right there. On top of that, make sure that your car is empty and clean. If you don't need it, don't bring it in the car. How many times have I heard stories about tourists getting their cars broken into because they had luggage in the back seat? But how did they know we had stuff? We covered the suitcase with a towel. And this is especially true at places like malls or the beach. Again, I don't know how many times I've heard stories about someone leaving their camera equipment on the front seat and they go away for like 10 minutes and they come back to smashed window and all their camera equipment is gone. If a thief wants to get into your car, they're gonna get into your car. But don't make it easy for them. Number 3, don't travel in bad areas or late at night. Whenever I read about crime in the newspaper, the first 2 things I look for are where did it occur and at what time did it occur. As a visitor, you should know where it's safe to go and where it isn't safe to go. Oh, you want to go there? Yeah, I don't know about that. Oh, you have a map? Okay, good. You see these places right here? Yeah, absolutely safe. You should definitely go there. But you see all these other places right here? Yeah, right there. Yeah, you don't really want to be going there. Trust me. You don't really want to be going there. Maybe next time. I'll let you figure out where it's safe to go, but just know that there are places where tourists probably shouldn't go. And if you can't figure it out on your own, ask a local. You should also be aware of the time. In Japan, you can stay up pretty late and it's relatively safe. Oh, hey, it's only 11 o'clock. Let's go eat some ramen. However, there are parts in Hawaii where it's just not safe to go at night. Sometimes I'll be driving at night and I'll see a couple of tourists walking in a kind of dangerous area in town. And I'm thinking to myself, why do they think that's safe? Just think about it. There's a reason why you don't see a lot of local people in those areas at that time. So please be safe. Number 4 is hide your stuff. Now, it may be tempting to flash your expensive camera gear or purse. Yeah, I'm pretty happy I got this new Sony mirrorless camera with the G series lens. Only cost me about 6 grand. But I would be very careful about that. In Japan, I saw a lot of people flashing their expensive camera stuff, and that's great. But in Hawaii, I would tone that kind of stuff down. Whenever I take photos outside, I usually bring someone else with me just for safety and just for that assurance. But in the case that I cannot bring someone outside, I'm usually timid and nervous. So there's this one time I want to take a time lapse of the sunrise coming over Diamond Head. It's pitch black and I have 3 cameras set up. That's a lot of gear. Suddenly I notice this guy walking closer and closer to me from down the beach, and I'm starting to get a little nervous as he's walking towards me because there's nobody else around me. I have 3 cameras. And so I'm starting to think, bro, this guy's getting kind of close to me. If he comes any closer, I might have to either pack it up or we're gonna have to fight. Hey, he's getting kind of close, man. Okay, if he passes that line right there, I'm digging out. Wait a minute, he just passed that line. Okay, if he passes that line right there, I'm packing up and I'm digging out. But I stood my ground and I just watched him intently. Hey, how's it going? Because I figured if he's gonna take my stuff, I'm at least gonna see him take my stuff and no surprises. So just be cautious with your stuff. If you're a photographer and you're coming to Hawaii and you just want to take some nice photos, my recommendation is either to bring a nice point and shoot camera or an APS-C camera with a kit lens. Unless you actually need specific gear for certain shots, I don't think it's worth it. You have to remember that it's sunny in Hawaii, and when you go outside, you're not really going to be able to shoot at wide apertures unless you have an ND filter. So just bring the kit lens. And number 5 is if you feel unsafe, just leave. It is just not worth it. I've actually had to do this a couple of times recently. I just didn't feel safe, and so I packed up all my stuff and I left. There was just one time I was planning on shooting photos at a park and I had everything set up. But I noticed there was this car that kept driving by really slowly and it got me a little uneasy. It just seemed like they were looking at me and trying to figure out what exactly I was doing, and I just felt uncomfortable. So I packed it up and I left. Trust your gut if something doesn't feel right or look right. I know it's easy to be super relaxed on vacation, but just be aware of your surroundings too. Because for the most part, people in Hawaii are very friendly, and you'll get that sense pretty quickly when you get here. But there are still those people out there who aren't so friendly and who really are trying to take advantage of visitors and people who aren't paying attention. So again, for the most part, these things are common sense, but these kinds of things do happen in Hawaii, and we're seeing them more and more, at least in the news. For the tourists who do get robbed, I cannot imagine how they must feel. I mean, especially when they're coming from a place like Japan, they save all their money, they come here, and then something like this happens, they don't know what to do. So just be safe, be aware of what's going on around you, and I hope these tips help so that you can have a better vacation in Hawaii. Thanks for watching, and aloha.